Hey, how you guys doing? Let's do it to it. Alright. Tactic time. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? Okay. First of all, we know that it's going to be a check, or we're going to have to move our rook or something, because our rook's under fire. We also know that potentially rook takes h4 or h3, check. Only move is king to g2. How to handle that? Let's see. King g2. We know we can't do bishop takes because he'll play, if we did bishop takes h3, he's got g takes h4, so we know that doesn't work. What do we do after king moves though? We could double up rooks at that point. Maybe after here, the king moves. Is it too slow to go rook e5, rook e5 to h5, h5? Is it too slow for that? I think it might be, because then he has, at that point, oops. I think at that point it is too slow, because then he has rook h1, and that challenges the open file. We could win the queen though. Let's see. No, if we won the queen for the two rooks, he'd actually be... Yeah, we're down a whole queen. Excuse me. So we can't really do that. We're down a queen. We'd be actually down a whole rook. Not good. Not good. So... wait a second. Could potentially rook g5 come to pass. Rook g5 might be an interesting idea, but then you have to consider this though. Rook g5, g4, so, and then we're kind of up a creek with that paddle. Well, rook's gonna take on that. If he plays bishop g8 check, I'm thinking that rook takes g8 might be, or I mean, I'm sorry, rook bishop g1. Sorry, g1 check, and then rook takes g1. I'm thinking that that might be what he'll play. Let me see. Let's see. King takes. Let me see what you're at. Let's see the move. Okay. Bishop g8. King takes g8. Rook g5. Okay. Bishop takes g8. Rook takes. And king 8 g2. Yeah, that's true. I'm just trying to see if there's any. See, sometimes our ideas work. That we just have to take pieces of them, and then you can put a combination together. Because that might be an idea. I'm just trying to see if there is a if that is playable. So that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Let's see here. Still, he can't take our rook. It's protected by the bishop. He has to actually move the. He has to rook takes h3 check, and then king g2, and that's where I'm kind of stumped right now. Because that's calling out, that's crying out to be played. Yeah, I'm a little stumped right there. I'm like, I'm getting warmed up too a little bit, but I'm just like, huh. what to do after that, because that like neutralizes all of our ideas there. It's like no idea there. So maybe we can sacrifice a. Can we sacrifice anything? Let me see. So rook takes h3, king g2. Well, I looked at a line up here. If we did that, this is kind of the line that I was looking at right here. Well, let me see. So rook takes king. Oh, not bad. Yeah. Okay, so takes, king there, rook takes, king takes, rook slides over h5, king, h5, king g2, rook check, then the king goes back to h2 or h1. Interesting. Nice job. Let's see, is there any other moves? Nope. Great job. Great work. Great work there. Yeah. Yep, exactly. It's those are the kind of sacrifices you have to keep an eye out for. Excuse me. Okay, so now we got the knight pinned to the rook, so that's I think we may have to double up our rooks. Excuse me. This might be an 800 level puzzle. I'm thinking it's rook A to D8. I think it's A to D8. And I'm looking to see, is there any way to not avoid losing material? I think he's going to lose material here. See, even if he plays this here, rook D, rook A, D8, and if he plays, bishop D2, we could play rook takes D4, and if bishop takes A5, then we can actually play rook takes D1 check, rook takes D1, and then rook takes D1 check, and we're up a whole rook, and he only has a bishop. So I want to make sure the line is right. Am I missing anything? Even if he moves his rook up to D2, he still loses. Let's see, anything. I'm just looking to see if he has any intermezzo moves, in between moves. I really don't see any in between moves. See any problem with rook here? I knew it was like a 900 because there was no way he can win material. Yeah, there's no way that he could do it, but there's no way. I'll show you the line that I was talking about. If this is kind of his bet, this is kind of the best line for the opponent. Trying, but actually somewhat. This here. That's basically what would happen if he tried to save his bishop. That would be the end of the road, as they would say. Oh, wow. Interesting. He's ready to give up a rook. Oh, hello there. Interesting, huh? Okay, so this opened up a potential diagonal attack on d4, but we need to look out for knight takes f. Huh. Hmm. Let's see if we took the knight with the queen, what would happen. Queen takes f3. G takes f3. Let's just take a look. Bishop takes e2. Let's see. Bishop takes e2 first. Knight takes. Well, maybe not knight takes. We'll say rook takes. Takes e2. Let's see here. We can't really we got to be careful here, because I was trying to see if I couldn't do bishop d8, but I don't think I'm looking at bishop d8, but I'm not sure if that actually turns out the way we're wanting it to. Because bishop d8, rook e6 check. I guess we could take. I guess we could play rook takes e6 and then win material that way. That does expel the queen. Bishop d6 expels the queen out of no, b6. Sorry, bishop d8 gets rid of the queen. We do give up 2 rooks though, but in the end, because like bishop d8, rook takes e8, because he has to get something for it. Bishop takes a5. If rook takes a5, if rook takes rook takes h8, then we have bishop takes e2, and we're up material. Queen f4. Queen f4. What is? What does queen f4 do? I'm just wondering. I know it's like a check or something, but I mean, we have to have like something forcing. We can actually win material here too. We pick up a rook for a pawn. So like if bishop d8 and let's say queen goes to b4, we'll say queen b4, right? We can actually play f takes e5 and we picked up a pawn. Yeah, we still have 2 bishops. He's got a rook and 2 knights, and we have a queen and a bishop. So we have more firepower. We have more firepower at that point. I really don't see any other way to handle that situation but by that. I'm thinking that's the best move at this moment. Let's see, bishop there, rook takes, knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes. We have a bishop and queen, and he has a rook and 2 knights. Yeah. Even? Let's see. So a bishop is 12. A rook is 5, 6, no 11. We're up a pawn. You could actually, we could do an in-between move of this. Let's see here. Bishop D, hold on, let's modify it really quick. Bishop D, yeah. Yeah, bishop D, and let's say rook takes e8, right? Rook takes e8, rook takes e8, and then bishop takes a5. We could have that. Then we're up 2 bishops in that line. We're up 2 bishops. Yeah, I think that's right. Let's go for it. Okay. Now we have to decide, do we play rook takes rook like what we just said? Rook takes e8, rook takes e8. Or do we play bishop takes queen? Because now we've come to a fork in the road again. We have, if we play bishop takes, then we trade. We have a bishop and a queen versus 2 knights and a rook. If we trade rook takes rook on e8, and let's say, okay, now we got to calculate. Kind of, this is a pain in the drain. So rook takes e8, and it's, let's say, queen b4, rook takes e2, knight takes e2, and then bishop takes e2, queen b5, check. Arg, I don't know if we want to do that. I kind of see what you're saying, yeah. I think rook takes, because what would happen is knight takes and the bishop holds. The bishop holds the checking point, so the queen can't come back and check. I'm hoping this is right. Yeah. Whoa. Did not consider that. Well, I'll show you why. I'll show you why this actually works. We're doing great. It covers the b5 square. We're up a whole bishop here, and we're about to win a knight. And the king is actually nicely tucked away. Can't come here anymore because of this bishop, so he's kind of up a creek without a paddle. Whoa, a 3.2% pass rate. I know why. Let's go back here. They take the queen with the bishop. Everybody takes the queen with the bishop. After this here, they do this here. This isn't the best. This actually is not the best. Alright, it's this here. This moves why it's not the best, and it's a draw. You need to take here to remove this threat here, and you're still attacking there. Yeah, we're doing good. We are doing good. We just got to oh, okay. Okay there. Okay, the queen is attacking our Boy, this is interesting, but don't fall for always the good blocks, because sometimes the blocks are the thing that end up getting us. Oops, what the heck? Ah, scared me there. There was a blink sound on my earphone. Okay, okay. See, queen f6. He has rook h7 check. And I'm thinking that king g8 is actually a winning move in that line. I'm thinking queen f6, rook g7. We don't want to take because I think it's a draw if we take. The reason we go king g8 is we're attacking his rook on h7, and if he tries to double up rooks, we actually can take the queen, and after he takes back, we take the rook. So, well, maybe he can win our rook. We do have, no, if he doubles up, we can win the other rook with our knight. Ah, interesting. He can't double up because our knight would take on h1. Oh, he does have a problem. If queen f6, he could potentially go queen d7 check. Sorry, I need to do that. Queen d7 check. So let's see what happens. So let's give this a go. This bishop check. King g6, queen f5 check. Queen oops, f5 check. Queen takes f5. E takes f5 check, then king to f6, and we're good to go. Yeah, I think we're kind of forced in that line. King g8 is the line we were looking at. queen takes queen. Let's check this line out. Queen takes f5. E takes f5. And then knight g4. Queen takes f. I'm thinking this has to be the nice, yeah. We're doing good. Oh boy, what do we do here? Huh. Let's see, bishop e4. D takes e5. D takes e4. See, rook b1. See, rook b1 there, b8. Oh, no. What am I missing here? Oh, it's to block. It's to block this. So he, and then after he, you got it. Just we missed one move. It was the bishop. Let's see if that line would have worked though. Let's see why this doesn't work. Let's take a look real quick. Oops. Wrong. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Well, this one's an interesting one. Queen d6. Let's just take a look at this. Queen d6. Queen takes c3 check. King d1. We're enticing him to actually take our rook. King d1. Queen takes a1. King e2. I'm not sure what he does after that. Bishop b4. He's got queen to e5. And that covers our queen coming in. And he's also attacking our pawn on e4. So we have to kind of, yeah. You see why now? It's because of this here. Let's I'll calculate out loud, and if you guys can follow along with me. Okay, queen d6. Queen takes c3, check. We don't want to, we could go up to king to e2, but the problem with that is we want him to stay on the dark squares. So we would actually entice him to take our rook. We want him to take our rook. We want his queen offside. So king to d1. Queen takes a1 check, then king e2 now. King e2 now, so that where could his queen go to check us? He has to give up the queen to, and then it doesn't matter anyways because we got him. That's what I'm thinking. Let me see. Is there? Does he have any continuation besides? Let's say we do the queen thing. Does he have any? Yeah, we're not doing queen c2. We're not doing queen e2. We're going to allow him to take our rook. We're going to go, we're going to actually go king to, we actually want to go king, I believe, d1, d1, and allow him to grab our rook and then go e2. And then this, then this, then king e2 after the checks. I'm just thinking, I'm not sure. I'm just trying to do the most forcing line. We want the most forcing line because that's our way of handling the attack. So I'm thinking, what? Let me see. Not e2. After d1. Oh yeah, the bishop check. That's right. Oh yeah, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? Huh. Good thing we spotted that. Good job. So it's d2 then. Ooh, nice spot there. Good find. Great find there. Nice work. Great job. King d1. Queen takes a1 check, and then king d2. And our queen covers at that point. Yeah, nice job. Because that we have to be careful. The bishop can go to a6 to check our king, which would cause a little bit of a problem. King d1, and king d2. Great job. Great work. Nice. Nice. Nice work. And there's no way to stop whatever he does. It's going to end up mate. He's going to have to give his queen up for basically queen d4 is going to be the move. Then we take it, and then he maybe can survive with knight to f6, and we're up a whole queen in that line. Loving it, yeah. Hurrah. Oh boy, so he's trying to do some sort of sacrifice here, huh? Okay, let's first look at the takes, because you gotta look at the most forcing moves in those lines. H takes g6, queen takes g6 check, bishop g7, knight h5, I'm looking at, sorry, I was just thinking there for a second. Okay. We could play king h8. What would that do if we just moved our king? He could attack our queen at that point, so king h8, rook g4. What if we move our king? King h8 here. Like king h8. If queen h5, then we have knight h6. We're threatening. We unleash the rook and everything. We untangle all of our pieces at that point. Because I don't really see a very good continuation for us. See, if we our advantages are our rook, right? If we can't get our rook out, how are we going to use our advantage? Because if we block, he then neutralizes everything with knight to h5, and we really don't have anything. We can't move our rook because then he would take our knight, and it'd just be bad, really bad, and we have to get out of this pin somehow. So if we move our king, we remove the pin on h7. We're still threatening the knight with the queen. So I'm thinking, do you have a line for king to h8? Have you looked at king to h8? Because king h8, this is a line. Yeah, because it's a very interesting line for sure. Because what you have to be aware of is bishop takes f7 is more likely going to be played because he has to start trading down. He has to get rid of that knight. He doesn't want that knight involved in the position. So what might have a bishop takes. We have to keep in contact with potentially that. We may want to take with, what do we want to take with, the rook or the queen? Well, we have in that case, we have a nice combination here. Here we actually have knight g5, knight to g5. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe that blocks. Does that block the check? Huh. Maybe that's. The reason I'm thinking king h8, we have to somehow get our pieces mobilized. That's the only thing I was looking at, is the mobilization of our pieces. Because if we try to go bishop to g7, he'll go knight, like what you're saying, knight to h5. When we check, I don't know if we have any really good continuation after he goes to h2. I don't see any good continuation. Yeah, let's go with it. Yep. Yeah, the bishop move doesn't. If we took here and I took here and we played here, I believe he's actually, this move wins for our opponent. Whoa, he can actually take. Oh, snap. We're doing good. Hey, great job. We just got to keep up this work, and we're going to get there. One thing at a time. Perfect. Oh boy, we can't take that. The trick on this one is if you play queen takes, queen takes e6. This is a trick right here. It's like knight c, knight c7, check, king to f2, f7, knight takes. E6, and then king takes E6. So maybe. Yes, it's a fork, but we do pick up a rook and a knight for, and we'd be up a exchange. Is that what we want though? We'd be up an exchange. See, if we go king f8, he can play rook e7 and then force our queen away. We have a in an endgame we're better because we'll have a more centralized king, and we'll have two rooks in an open position versus a knight and a rook. I'm not sure. Have you calculated it yet? Have you checked it out to see if it might work? Because it's always good to get a second opinion on it. If you see anything that's any better, like if you see like King F8 is best, put that line in because I'm just still looking at that. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? It's and by the way, we could pick up again. We can pick up the rook and the knight, but I'm just wondering if I really don't see anything like you guys have the right idea. It's either king d7. I mean sorry, queen takes e6 or king d7 is a good idea. I think king d7 doesn't work because it fails to knight. Nope. Sorry, yeah, knight f4, knight f4 check. I was looking at king d7, and I think it falls short to knight d4 check. Because then the knight actually protects the rook on e6, and then the king has to move. and then he holds all of his pieces together. Right now, his pieces are loose, so we can't allow him to solidify his position. If we played king d7, he can solidify with knight to f4, and his position is rock solid at that point. And then after we move the king, like king c7, he potentially can even play rook d4 and then hold everything together. And he would be rock hard, and it'd be hard to break at that point. Everything would be nicely protected, and they'd all be working great together. I'm looking at king f8, and he can actually play rook e6 to e1, and then he's solidified his position again. It's a solid rock position, because then he'll just, after we try rook a d8, our rook also on h8 is now neutralized, and rook a d8 allows his knight just to move to knight to, well, maybe just c4 at that point, and he's fine. Yeah, let's go with it. Oh, the reason that doesn't... Oh, it's that. Drat. Drat. The reason this... darn it. I missed that there was a... See, the reason that this here fails is because of that. It's okay. We'll get it back. It's only 10 points. We'll get it back. Okay, let's work real hard and make sure and I need to check even again my calculations even after the first move, just to make sure. Come on. Let's see, so king to f7. Okay, we have a lot of pieces pointing right at the king. Okay, let's see, what potentially could we do? We can do some checks. That might shove his king back down there, though. Okay, let's take a quick look at the queen check now. Okay, oops, I gotta put this over here. Queen h5 check. King g7 or g8, and then nothing. No, 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 not liking that. Let's see. Let's take this a little further. Let's take this for a little road ride. We'll take it for a ride. Queen G6. So he's trapped now against the back rank. And now then we always have rook to h4 at that point. And then in routing in to cause some damage. Okay. Queen h5. Do you guys have any lines you would like to look at? I'd be more than happy to look at some lines. If king f8. Okay. That makes sense. Hey, it's cold also here, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah, this f8's the one that's interesting. Well, let's take a look here. There is this move. Bishop takes or let's see, rook takes f6, check. E takes f6. We could just go for forcing. Bishop takes f6. King takes f6. Rook f4, check. King e6. king e6, queen f5, check. Potentially maybe that, but I'm not. Does that actually work though? That's like berserk to the nth level though. You gotta love that, you know. And I don't even know if at this point e takes bishop, c takes, bishop takes. I'm thinking that maybe rook takes e4 could actually happen, and then if queen takes g7, check. King e6. I'm not sure if we really get anything out of this. Maybe we do. Maybe we do. I'm thinking we have to, smash our way through. And that's kind of the only way to actually do that, is to smash. We have all of our pieces eyed on the king, and I think the reason the king move's a mistake is it made the bishop not be able to cover f6. Now that I look about it. Let's see, so bishop takes f5, bishop takes f6, he takes f6, rook takes f6, king takes f6, yeah, it does, doesn't it? So bishop takes, but what's his continuation line though? I guess he's forced to take in that line, isn't he? Because that rook covers, doesn't it? Let's take a look at this line. Bishop takes f6. Can he move anywhere? Well, he could move back, but if he does, then we have a discovery mate. We just take the bishop, and or we could just play queen takes, and that's mate. That's mate too. So he's forced to take at this point. So e takes f6, rook takes f6, king takes f6. Rook f4, rook f4, check. He can go king to either, maybe we'll try king, well, king e, king e6 loses to mate with king e5. Sorry, king e5 loses to queen e4 mate. And if he goes e6, king e6, then we check on f5, and he moves up, then we mate on g7, so that extends the mate out. And then if he goes e7, after takes king e7. So that this right here, this one right here is the now we got all the way to this point. The best move for him is actually king e7. So let's see, how do we king e7? How do we handle that? Oh, we take. Queen takes g7, check. King e6. Queen f6, check. And I believe that's mate, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Queen f6 mate. Let's go over the lines, and then what we're going to do is we'll go over a game after we go over these lines. Okay, there were 3 lines that could have arise after this move here. He has this move here, which this leads to mate in 1. He has this move here, this move leads to mate in 2. He has this nice little one, mate 2. And yeah, he's forced to take. And there's like Queen f5, I believe, probably is what could be played. Queen takes, and then king e7, and then you mate on f7. Nice work there. That was a tough one. Okay, this is the Tarrasch variation of the French. So let me get a drink. Come on, e4, e6, d4, d5. So this is the start of the French. Knight d2 and knight f6, the Tarrasch. e5, knight f d7, c3, c5, bishop d3, and knight c6. Then you can go to you could do different systems. The universal system is this here. And then this is just the main Tarrasch variation with knight to e2. But this is what a lot of players I've faced play. The reason they don't prefer, the reason grandmasters usually play knight e2 is so that you have the ability of pushing your f4 pawn. The only problem is with knight e2, you have to remember takes is very vital. So if he takes here, what you can actually at this point do is take here. Now you are, I think, let me see, which takes would be best in that line. I think it'd be, is it this takes or this takes? I think it's this one. Oh, it's this one because it's less active, that's right. And then if he takes here, you can actually take back check and you pick up a piece. You can, oh, nice, another check. And then you take, I'm on, oh sorry, I take. And you're up material. So it's kind of like that's a forced line. When takes, he has to take. So you have to kind of remember these lines. When they play knight to e3, e2, you have to remember to take in this Tarrasch line. You can't, and he can't take back because you win a piece, and then if he tries to take after that, you just start gobbling up, gobble, 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 and you become Mr. Pac-Man, really healthy. So he has to take, and then we play f6. f6 is a critical move to play. We have to blast open the center. Think of you're a person who mines, and the only way to get to those precious minerals is to blast deeper into the mountain. This right here is our mountain that we have to blast through to get to the precious mineral, which is his king. So if you think of it that way, you'll be more blasting in the center to open up the center. Takes, knight takes, castles, and then bishop d6. Now we're threatening this type of a battery. See, there's knight a lot of knight f6 is played, queen c2, and then you have a potential. This is to force through this move here. Sometimes they do that, and then what you want to do is play knight g5. Knight g5 is an important move as well. You also can, there's two main lines here. There's knight h5 and king castles. This idea is so that when this happens, let's say castles and he tries to come in, we can trade off our knight for his bishop. And then when he takes back, now we have the two bishops. We kept our good bishop on. In the French, the dark square bishop's always the best piece for black, because this is our entombed bishop. But with one push now, because we disintegrated the center or blasted the center, you can say whatever one you want, you have opened up this bishop to glory again. And yes, you're saying, but isn't this bishop shut off? For now, we can always push up and do a fork. So we're doing good. And if he trades, let's say this, he trades and trades. Yes, we got a isolated pawn, but we have the two bishops. When there's pawns on opposite sides of the boards, bishops become supremely important. And this gives us a tremendous amount, the d5 pawn gives us a tremendous amount of space in the center. So then we can actually play around it, and white has to be careful. He lost these squares for his bishop. His knight really can't go here, because if he does, we can actually play bishop takes, pawn takes, and queen takes, and now we can get our little guy going. And he can turn into a superhero when he reaches the other side. Okay, so he plays there, we castle, and rook c1. And of course, you guys know what would happen if he plays bishop h4. What do we play? What do we play if he plays bishop h4? What's the piece we move so that we don't give up our dark squared bishop? What piece do we not? What piece do we move so we don't give up our dark squared bishop? So that when he goes to g3, what piece do we move to stop the trade of the dark squared bishop? I'll give you guys a second to take a look at it. We went over it, and I'll see how you guys are doing. I'll give you a choice of moves. Bishop d7, bishop f5, or knight h5. Which one of those moves is right? You have a choice of 3. Choose which one is the best move when the bishop goes to h4. Because I want you, my friends, to be part of this learning experience too. So I'm going to stop it every once in a while, and I'm going to throw out because we're going to go over these lines. And I want you to be able to spot them in your games. So the way to do that is to participate. So there's 3 moves you could choose from. You have to choose from those 3 moves. Which move is the best move when the bishop goes to h4 for black? Which move? Bishop d7, bishop f5, or knight h5? Because we just talked about this, so think and choose wisely. All right. Okay, so what do you have you chosen? Have you chosen wisely? Now we were talking about what's the best move in this situation for black. The bishop went to, this is actually, Simon Williams teaches this. What happens with bishop to h4? What's the best move? Yep, bishop, right. Knight, not h4. What you have these choices here. You have these choices to choose from. Bishop d7, bishop f5, or knight h5. Which move is the best? Because you want to preserve this bishop here. So what's the best? Because white wants to play bishop g3. So what's the best move in this line? Is it that? Is it here? Or is it there? Which one? Which one? Nice, nice. That's right. Because if white still gets, let's say white plays automatic. What we do is we instantly take. Because white's thinking, oh, I'm going to trade off, yeah. Yep. And then when he takes back, now we got our two bishops, and we're going to win here. So that's with that. So now this is kind of another line you can do, but sometimes they do that, and you have to always be prepared to meet bishop h4 with knight to h5. So this also is in line too with the sacrifice line. If he comes back here, you can actually play knight h5, bishop here, and then there's a rook sack. And if when the king comes, we'll say here, you have this, and if he takes, you can come back with a check. And then you come there, and if he tries to come here, you have check, he moves, and then you grab that, and you've actually regained everything. You're up material too. There we go. So that's what happens if he goes back here. Then there's a couple other lines that could arise. Sometimes let me see, what would be another line? Something like knight there, but I doubt that would actually work. He retreated back. a6. So he's now trying to, yeah, we're there. All right. This allows, the reason if you're wondering why G5 is played, it's so that the queen can come over to G7 and protect the king and allow for pushing of the pawns. Bishop B, G8. Now we can get these pawns are rolling. Wham. Okay. And get this rook. Okay, double up rooks then. So there. Queen C5. Queen F7. And there. And then now we're trying to get a battery of an attack here. And then zam. And boom, and then wham. Rook C2. And zam there. And then Queen D1, and we're picking up. Yeah. King G2. And then now we play knight takes. And this, now you see how all of our pieces are flooding to life just with a sacrifice. A piece sacrifice allowed for everything to just flow. Now we're threatening to here and here. So if he takes there, basically we're gonna deliver mate pretty soon to boot. If he comes here, he'll have to come there because you can't go here. You can't go here, here, or there. So the only thing you do is block, and then it's mate. That's why he has to check. King takes, then the rook takes here. King G2. There's no more checks now. He's going to try to exchange off here. Rook takes. There's going to be a check, of course. Comes back, takes. Now we're up material. Queen D8. Now we got to find the proper way to survive all the checks. And he kind of might have been getting into time sitch here because he repeated moves a little bit. There we go. And then if he tries, he can't play here because of the pin. Now we block. And if G takes, G4 check, King to F1, Queen H3, King E2, and then Queen D3, King E1, or E1, then King E8, and then now there's no way to avoid the mate to boot. He'd have to push like this to avoid mate, and then we just come down and grab the, and actually we can just mate if you wanted to, just mate there. Don't even have to get sucked into his delusionary belief of us taking it. Excuse me. Okay, do you guys have any questions before I log off on this anywhere back here? So I just gotta check to see how we're doing on time. Do you have if you guys got a game, I can go over a game. If you guys got a game you want to go over too, I actually have a little bit more time. I can go over a game if you want, like a chess game that you guys may have that you played or something. You want to go over it. just put it into LHS.org, and then we can I can go over it, and we'll work through it together. Okay, if you guys have one. Do you guys have any games you want to go over? Are you sure? I'll see if I have an older game that I'll go over one of my older games. Hold on. I'm gonna keep this one so that if you wanted to, if you have any questions on it, I have it. Okay. Come on, work with me, computer. Sometimes computers, oh, there you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Let's go back in time for a second and see what I have here for some games. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. This is a good one. This is a London system. And when you put yours in, we'll go over yours. We're just gonna go over this while you're take your time, okay? I'm white, so I'll get to show you how I play the London system. Because he played this here, this move, I can actually play my knight f3. If he didn't play this move, let's say played knight here, and then he played here, I'd play here, say plays here, I play there, here. Now I can grab that, and if it comes there, I have this. But if you go back, oh, perfect. Okay, you got a game? Nice. Okay. Okay, well, I'll put it in here. I could always retrieve this one. All right. We'll go over this. Morphe, loving it. Gotta love the Morphe game. Okay, gotta spin the board. A4, E5, bishop F. I mean not bishop F4. E5. This is the King's Gambit declined Felsbeard variation. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's when they challenge this, and usually white would take E takes D5. If they take this way, there's a big time problem with an attack with the knight. You can actually take back. So if he takes here, I haven't played it in a while, but this is usually the line that happens. And if this comes under fire, then you have like Queen D5, and there's nothing but a problem and more problem. Yeah, it's a counter gambit. This right here is the really bad attack that could come pounding down on you. Knight c3, knight f6. And now this bishop. So when the bishop takes, we castle. So Morphy is not, he just gambited of 2 pawns basically. He just gave up 2 pawns. Because he wants one thing, activity. And he knows that this center's ripe for the Pluckins to be taken over, so he castled. Pawn takes. Now, if bishop had taken, then you have to be very eerie of a check that would happen. Yeah. His whole idea is the king's in the center. So if, let's say, bishop, well, at this point, you can actually come and counterattack here. You got to be careful, though, because the knight would take. Now you could stop castling via queen to e7. This stops it. He really can't castle because he'll lose a piece. So this stops castling. So he'd have to play something like that. Then more if he can grab a pawn, and now he's attacking here. So he might even be able to bring the queen up. Maybe e3 is a better move. And then at this point, now you can play knight takes, and you can get your pawn back with interest galore. Takes. So that's why he took here, because now this could be met with a blocking here, and then potentially maybe king there. He's trying to. His opponent's trying to hold all of the pawns together. He's a greedy white. White's greedy right now, and it's gonna cost him everything. That was a mistake, because now Morphy's got almost full 100% development. King f8, Kazam, and now queen to knight d5. Oh man, you gotta love. This is the ultimate sacrifice right here. Bang. He can only take, and then in comes the bishop knight pawn move. You get that back. Now Morphy's just going to pound him. And then you can actually play knight f3, which this allows for takes, and then you come in here. If he comes there, king f2, comes here, here. Let's see, I'm trying to I think queen queen h6. Okay. Let's see if that. Let's see here. He come up. Okay, so that's why that doesn't work. He just comes down. Okay. And now he's threatening mate. So queen g1. And then knight f5 would almost be decisively. You'd have to go king here, and then you get checkmate. That's so beautiful. There's no game like Morphy's game, I gotta say. Do you have Morphy's Revenge? Do you have any questions on this? On the game, we can go over certain points if you do. Okay, go back to the sack to get the king out. Right there. What do you want to look at now? I'm at move 13. Is that good? Yeah. Oh, knight f3 here. Oh, I moved 17. Oh, right here. Okay, so what's the question on this? Right. Yeah. This right here. He has to sacrifice. There is no other way that he can do but to sacrifice, because that's covered. He basically, the king tries to hide. Oh. Okay. There we go. So, any more questions? Well, with proper study, oh, not a problem. I enjoy going over games, because that's how you learn. That's where a lot of the openings originate from, is actually the games. That's how a lot of the openings and how ideas come from, and forex pins, skewers, and all that. Do you have any other questions before I log off? Okay. Well, I want to thank you for all logging on, and you know what? We're doing better. We moved up another 8 points, so we're onward and upward. We're doing good. So we have to remember that we have to treasure. Life is about treasuring our victories and learning from our losses. Remember that mistakes don't define you. It's how you handle the mistakes that define you. Because it's going to happen. You're going to make a mistake. There's no doubt about it. Morpheus lost games before. But you know what he did? He learned where his sacrifices didn't work, and then he perfected them when they did work. And Morphy had a type of play that shocked the whole world. Because his play wasn't like anything that they had seen before. It was more like he was aggressive. He was coming at you. He never let you have a breath of air. He kept squeezing, and when you thought your king was safe, wham! He sacrificed a piece and opened the king, and then you look at the board and you're like, oh no, it's all over. And they played all the way to the end. That's what they used to do, is play all the way to the end of the game, and that's why it ended with mate. But nowadays, a lot of the grandmasters will resign before the forced mates happen, so you'll have to work them out yourself, which is also good too, because that'll try your understanding and your play a little bit. So that'll be fun. We have to also remember that we have to take what we know and apply it, because that's important. You can know a lot, but unless you apply it, then it's for nothing. You can be willing, but unless you actually sit down and do it, like work, it's just all going to be a will. There are no limits. That's what Bruce Lee said. There are plateaus, and you must not stay there. Like, we're striving for 2400. That's our goal. We're like straining. We're like, we're gonna do it. You know what? And it may only be that you do 4 or 5 puzzles a day. But it's those puzzles, those 2600 level, 2700 level puzzles, or 2300 level puzzles. Those are the positions that will arise in your games. Those are the more complicated positions, and you'll be able to spot them like Morphe did. Morphe had to look at the board. He had to know exactly what the sacrifice was. He had to work it out all the way, because when you sacrifice, you're going down a piece. So he had it all the way out towards mate, and that's what we're doing. And we're now going into the French defense, learning the French defense, and tomorrow I'll pull up that one game that I just went over, my game, and we'll go over the London system, and we'll talk about the play, the ideas behind it, and that. We'll start going over some of my games, my older games. But what we have to have is also that we have to keep our swords sharpened, which is our tactical understanding, and our mind pointed at the goal, which is victory at the board. Don't let outside things affect your thinking at the board. And remember, we always talk about the 3 kings, Saul, David, and Solomon. 2 of them started out really good, but it's how they finished that was bad. So it's not how you start your game, it's how you finish the game that matters. So never forget, endgame study is important. We'll have to bring some of that in too. We'll have to bring, after we do a couple of my games like the London system and then some of the French, we'll have to go over some endgame studies too. So if you have like games that have endgame studies, like if you have a game that had an interesting endgame, bring them and we'll go over them. But the main thing is have fun, because chess is about fun, and never take for granted your talent that the Lord has given you, because it's a gift from Him that He's given you, and He always wants you to use it to honor Him and to have a relationship with Him. So never forget that He's the reason for everything. But like always, we have to hang up our coat, we have to hang up our hat, and we have to sit down and study. When most won't, we do, and that makes all the difference. And you're going to say, he's going to say it again. Yeah. Stay away from the 1 minute, or hyper blitz, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, even 10 minutes. 15 minutes bare minimum is a good game for you, because you got to have time to be able to calculate. Otherwise, you're just going on instinct. It's going to be who has the best instinct and best plan in that situation. And you have to study to get a plan. So, just a little helpful reminder from your friend Chess Cruncher to keep you on as it's written, the straight and narrow path. Okay. As Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless, and I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher. Have a Chess Cruncher TV, that's what I mean. And so have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, and Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow, and you'll come on, and maybe you'll have a game, or we'll go over some puzzles, and we'll go over one of my games, and we'll learn and keep pushing forward. 2 thumbs up. Great job. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah! Yeah. Okay, bye-bye. I'll see you tomorrow.